Okay, we need to look at population. So population or population density is talking about the number of individuals of a species in a specific area. For example, if you have 50 monarchs in a 10-meter squared area, your population density is 5 monarchs per meter squared. In order to determine your population size, you could try direct observation, where you count them all. And that works well if you're talking about a small area or a population that has low numbers, like the number of eagles along a river or the number of bears in the Adirondack High Peaks. You could try indirect observation, where you look for signs such as tracks, scats, rubbings, nests, etc. Now that's helpful if you're looking for an organism that might be hard to see, like cliff swallows. You can find their nests, and you can assume that each nest represents 2 parents and 2 chicks, so you could count the number of nests to figure out how many cliff swallows there were. If you have a larger area or a large number of organisms, you might try sampling using something called a quadrat, which is just a set portion that you're going to look at. So you would estimate from a portion of area. For example, if you sectioned off a 10-meter by 10-meter part of forest and counted 8 maple trees, but you know the entire forest is 100 times bigger, then you must have 800 maple trees in the entire forest. Another method of determining population size is called mark and recapture, where a portion of the population is captured, marked, and then released. Later, another portion is captured, and the number of marked individuals within the sample is counted. Over time, a population size may change. So birth rates might cause an increase in your population, and birth rate is talking about the number of births in a population in a certain time. So if we were looking at a snow geese population and they produce 1,400 goslings in a year, then that birth rate is 1,400 geese per year. If that same population had a death rate of 500 geese per year, so the number of animals that die or organisms that die in a certain time, then that death rate is 500 geese per year. Now, if you have a higher birth rate than a growth rate, if you have a higher birth rate than a death rate, then your population is getting bigger. But if you have a higher death rate than a birth rate, your population would be getting smaller. And this change in rate of a population, we call that growth rate. And that's your birth rate minus your death rate. So using the examples above, 1,400 geese born, 500 died, you have a growth rate of 900 geese per year. A positive growth rate happens when you have more births than deaths, so your population is increasing. And that might happen if you have plenty of food, a healthy environment, and very few predators. A negative growth rate happens when you have more deaths than births, so your population is decreasing. And that could happen as a result of disease, lack of food, pollution, weather, or many predators. You may have individuals immigrate into an area, so they move into a population. You might have individuals emigrate or leave, move out of a population. We do need to look at some limiting factors. These are environmental factors that prevent a population from increasing, and it's these limiting factors that determine the carrying capacity of an environment or of a habitat. Carrying capacity refers to the largest population that an environment can support. Some examples of these limiting factors include food, space, water, weather, sunlight, rainfall, temperature, and predators.